Hi, I'm Kelly O'Connor with Financial Caffeine. If you just purchased my audiobook, it should be waiting for you in your inbox. If you haven't, we'll have the links so that you can do so. I have two things for you, something of value, kind of a loophole, if you will. I'm going to save that here for end, get to that in just a moment. But then another conversation. This conversation is another theme that is within my audiobook. I call it the income game. And I want to see if you know where you sit in comparison to the rest of the country. My guess is you don't. Let's see. So this is the income game, as I call it. And what I want to do is start by asking you a very simple question. When you look at your household income and you consider it based upon the rest of the country, would you consider yourself common or uncommon? Now, many people consider themselves quite common, right? Because we have this rich level here. I'm definitely not uncommon. I'm more kind of common. And some people do say uncommon. And if you did, I have a question. Are you uncommonly high or are you uncommonly low? Now, what I want to get through is let's just see based upon statistics where you fall. Now, don't do any Google searching, all right? This has to come from your head. You can do a Google search later and see if the numbers that I'm giving you are accurate. But let's take a look. What I want to know is let's start down here at the top 50%. What do you think it takes to be in the top 50% of wage earners? Meaning, as you look across the country and all the household income, everybody who files a tax return as a household, what do you think it takes to be right in the middle of that bell curve? You got 50% of the population behind you and 50% of the population making more than you. What do you think that number is? All right, what about the top 25%? So 75% of households make less money than you. Now, it kind of makes me want to ask, the United States is the wealthiest country in the world. If you're in the top 25%, meaning 75% of all taxpayers make less than you, aren't you pretty wealthy? Do you feel it though? But let's see where you sit. How about the top 10%? What does it take to be in the top 10% in the United States? All right, get these numbers in your head. It's very important. 5%. 95% of all households make less money than you do. That would definitely make you uncommon, would it not? And of course, the infamous 1%ers, right? A couple elections ago, we had a candidate telling us that the 1%ers are the corporate jet owners and flyers. Right? These are the people, you know, they don't have to go through TSA. They have their own corporate and their own private jets. They fly all over, the 1%ers. So what do you think? What is that number? What income does it take for you to go right on, we're in the top 1% in the country? Okay. Well, now let's take a look. According to the IRS's most recent information, to be in the top 50%, you need to be making $41,740 a year. Now, I find that when people are going through this with me, a lot of them get pretty close. A lot of people say 35, 38. A lot of people get this one pretty much spot on. And often, they get this number 25% as well. So to be in the top 25%, you have to be bringing in $83,682 a year. Again, I find a lot of people say about 75, right? So pretty close, right? To be in the top 25%, you're making $83,000 a year. Right? You're doing pretty good, right? You're definitely not rich and wealthy. You're certainly not flying around in private jets, but we knew that wasn't you anyway. All right, so now this is where the gap starts to separate a lot of the time. The top 10%. What does it take to be in the top 10% in the country? Well, according to the IRS, it takes $145,135 per year. And you're a 1%er. I'm sorry, you're a top 10%. 90% of the country in the wealthiest nation on the planet makes less money than you if your household brings in $145,000. Pretty interesting. Now, how about the top 5? 95% of the people. $208,053. All it takes is $208,000 and you're in the top 5%. All right? And the big one, the 1%ers, we are the 99. Remember that? The The one percenters, what does it take? 515,371. Trust me, no one making $515,000 a year owns a private jet. The idea that 515 grand is a corporate jet owner and flyer is just political aggravation for me. It drives me nuts. I wish they could get up on stage and just give us all the real information. You are not flying around in a private jet at 515 grand a year. You're doing good, but that's all that it takes for you to be in the top 1% in the wealthiest country in the land. Now, I do work with primarily individuals that are within these thresholds here. So here's the question. If you are in the 10% and above, are you common or uncommon? Well, statistically, you are extremely uncommon. Matter of fact, you are the most uncommon throughout the world. So here's the game changer question. If you are in fact uncommon, then why in the hell are you following common advice? You see, everybody on this page right here gets the same advice. Invest as much as you can in your pre-tax position. Pay down your house. Invest in your Roth. Everybody gets the same advice. So if you are the biggest tax target, why are you following common advice? Do you think maybe it would be of interest to you, or maybe it would be something you should consider, having some uncommon strategies when you are the biggest tax target that exists? And let's prove that. Let's prove you're the biggest tax target. I want to look at this from a standpoint now of taxes collected. How much do you think the top 50% are responsible for paying of the overall federal tax bill? Let's look. According to the IRS, they pay 96.89% of all taxes. Leaving the bottom 50, people making under 41,740 and below, pay just over 3% of all federal taxes. Now, is the government going to be going after them? Are we going to be able to collect more from those people? Of course not. That's just not possible. So how about the top 25%? 25% of the people pay 86.10% of the entire tax bill. 75% of our population pays roughly 14% of all the taxes. Yeah, you're definitely a tax target even if you fall in the 25%. How about the top 10? This is where it really gets interesting to me. The top 10 pay 70.08% of all taxes. This is where typically the people I begin to work with. You are uncommon and you are the biggest target. The decisions that you make, you're the ones that have the ability to create assets and create the income to be taxed when only 10% of our population pay over 70% of all of the taxes collected. Talk about having a target on your back. How about the top 5? The top 5 are responsible for 59.14% of all taxes. 5% of our population pays almost 60% of them all. Blows me away. And the infamous 1%ers again, they are responsible for 38.47%. 1% of our population pays almost 40% of all the taxes. That's sad. But here's the main key. You, again, as I said, you have a huge target. And if you're in this top 10%, heck, even if you're in the top 25%, you are extremely uncommon statistically, and you are where our government looks to target and hit. So why would you be following common advice? Maybe it's time to get some uncommon strategies, and that's what my entire audiobook is about. Uncommon strategies to help balance this out so that the target on your back gets as minimized as possible. You see, that's what I do. So if you purchase the audio book, it's waiting for you in your inbox. If you haven't, you can do so and download it. We'll email it to you. You can download it. Now, I mentioned something of value. I charge $500 to meet with me because a lot of people find me. It's kind of a buffer. I can't meet with everybody. I wish that I could, but it's kind of a buffer, and it's what I have to do. And some people do just come through. But see, I have to have a lot of conversations with them. In my audio book, though, many of those conversations, and in great depth, are already laid out with exact strategies. So there's plenty of conversations that we don't have to have. And I want to honor that investment and that commitment. So within my audiobook, I have a code that you can use when it comes time to get on my calendar and fill out my little one-page simple application. You can enter that code and I waive that application fee 100%. It's completely free. So I just want to make sure you're made aware of that. So if you purchase the book, go download that thing and have a listen. If you haven't, we've got the links for you. But ultimately, I hope that I can get you on my calendar and have an opportunity to meet with you.